Our representative, thank you, sir.
First of all, thank you for all you do for us as candidates and your hard work. I'll be honest with you, I am a terrible campaigner, a worse fundraiser, but I feel like I do a pretty decent job once I get there. I'm a worker, I work hard. I want to thank Jim and Sherry also, and I'll tell you this real quick about Jim. When I was running to go back into the General Assembly in 16, in campaign year 16, Jim called me and asked me to meet him up here behind headquarters and bring him some more signs. And it was the night that they were putting them out at all the election sites for the next day's election. And I got back here, his hands were bleeding from pushing so many metal or signs down into the ground. I mean, literally had a cut across his hand. I said, Jim, why in the world did you call me? I bought you some gloves and brought them to you. But he wouldn't slow up long enough to do that. He said, I'm good, I'm good. So that's the kind of guy that's running for our state chair, a guy that'll work, really give his blood for it. First of all, let me say this, as Jim mentioned about the Veterans Memorial, we have a beautiful, it's actually by the Secretary of State, named the North Carolina Veterans Memorial in Broadway. And people come from all over the state, and veterans especially coming to see it. It is beautiful. I've done a wedding in the gazebo there, maybe more than one. But we're adding a disabled North Carolina Veterans part to it, and that's the $250,000 Senator Rabin got, and Jim has been able to extend that. I this past week secured another $100,000 to add to that $250,000 to finish that thing. It's going to be beautiful and honor our veterans. My wife, Marty, is with me today and supports me in being a commissioner, being a pastor, being in the house, being all the things that God has called me to do over the years, and I thank her for that. We'll be married 49 years this August. And we've got 3 children, a son and 2 daughters, and they're married, and we have 4 grandchildren. So God is, and they're all Christians, and they're all serving in their churches. In fact, my son left IBM after 21 or 2 years to answer the call to ministry and take a tremendous cut in pay to be, and he's actually the lead pastor at Crossroads down in Broadway now. Let me say that I won't go into all the stuff that the Republican General Assembly has done the last couple of years that I've been back. But I want to give our Republican General Assembly credit for this. As you know, May the 1st, they've already announced they're coming back to Raleigh to do the march like they did last year. Last year they came, and of course I don't believe the numbers of 20,000, but there was thousands of them. And they didn't even know that there was already in the budget for the coming July for another raise. 5 years in a row, the Republican legislature has given teachers raises. We are now, we've gone from the Democrats having it in 2011 when we took over, we've gone from 45th in the nation to 29th. And we are number 2 in the Southeast, only behind Georgia. So we have looked after our teachers where the Democrats didn't, but they're still marching up there against us. You go figure, go figure. Amen. Then,
Marxist holiday.
last year when Florence hit, when the Democrats, when they were in charge, the last year they were in charge, they had $200 million in the rainy day fund. That won't even cover one hurricane. The Republicans last year when Florence hit, we had $2 billion in the rainy day fund.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was after paying back almost $2 billion to the federal government that the state owed. I want to share with you that the committees that I'm on currently this year, and seniority has its privileges, as so does rank in the military. RHIP, rank, veterans know that means rank has its privileges. I've been blessed this year to be co-chair of 3 committees. I'm co-chair of Education Appropriations, and I believe every one of those 6 to 1 lobbyists have been to see me this year by being Appropriations Chair. I am co-chair of the Community College Committee, and I'll say this, that the community college has always been my first love. Everybody hopefully supports public schools. Thank you. The public schools have a loud voice, and the universities have the ear of the leadership of House and Senate, so they get the money. I can promise you that. And I feel like the community college has had, over the years, has had to scrape to get by and do more than anybody else. So that's my heartbeat. I am also co-chair of ethics. I'm hoping I will never meet, because if I meet in that committee, somebody's in big trouble. And so hopefully that won't happen. I'm vice chair of a full appropriations committee and vice chair of redistricting. I'm on judiciary committee, and just Wednesday we passed out of we call it the J committee, judiciary committee, the bill that will actually demand that our sheriffs in North Carolina support the ICE, that they do what they're supposed to do. I'm on public utilities, and just recently formed a new school safety committee, so I'm on that also. So we've stayed busy up there, and I so far this session have sponsored 6 as primary sponsored bills and 26 total in co-sponsoring. As Jim said, I put in a bill to align our high school schedule with the community college, and so we put that in. And our leadership said put them all in, but at the end of the day, we're going to make one bill and send it to the Senate. And we're hoping that something can be done. I like your proposal, Jim, to move it
1 week.
1 week. Just move it back 1 week would keep our kids from having to take exams after Christmas. So that would be a great breakthrough. I'm the primary sponsor of a bill that will allow currently our veterans that live here and our active duty military can get in-state tuition. But I've put a bill in that will allow the dependents, their children, they're here, let them get in-state tuition also. I have put in for a 3% raise for, and you have to listen to all of this, 3% raise for our community college instructors and staff making under $60,000. And I had to put that in because just putting it under $60,000 still costs $22,500 a year recurring. So I've got my fingers crossed that I can get that into this year's budget. But it would, our community college teachers are averaging $47,000 a year in pay, and that's less than our school teachers, and they have to have a master's degree to do it. And so one person was telling me at one of the community college presidents said, I was going to hire a high school teacher to come and teach, I think it was agriculture or whatever it was, and they were wanting to go to community college, and they realized what the pay was. They can't afford to leave the high school to teach at the community